Welcome to Rapid Ramble. This is something we're going to be doing that's a bit new. It's a little bit of a preview for our longer video later in the week. It's only going to be around 10, maybe 15 minutes.
10.
10. Just to explain exactly what we're going to be talking about if you all don't know what that is. And this week's episode is over the Marvel group Exiles. My favorite team, by far, with my favorite comic book character.
By far.
By far. Here's what we're talking about. The Exiles are
Exiles. I will have somewhere an image of the team.
Yes.
Probably in the middle. It's usually been right here in the middle.
Right next to my bosom.
In front of the leader of the Exiles.
Blink, Clarice Ferguson. So the Exiles is a team of characters plucked from alternate realities. Right before the moment they're supposed to die. Or a crisis moment.
Right before something was supposed to happen to them.
That would alter their lives forever.
Yeah.
Death, crippling, whatever it may be.
And so it was basically, you come do this work for us, and then if we're satisfied when you're done with your job, you go back home happy. And whatever was going to happen that was bad won't happen. Or if not, if you make it alive but you disobey us, you'll go back.
And it'll happen.
Yeah.
So the premise of Exiles was once they were plucked from their dimension, they were given tasks to help save the multiverse. And they had to go to specific universes and complete specific things in that universe before they could move on.
So for quick geek speak to explain what the Exiles were, they're an X-Men team that is doing a mixture of Quantum Leap and Sliders, the TV show.
Nice breakdown. The members are, the leader of the team is Blink, aka Clarice Ferguson.
She is the most popular member of the team by far. She is the only character that ever, the only regular character to ever get other media made off of her.
She is quite the badass, honestly. In the video later this week, I'll explain why she's my favorite teleporter. And then after Blink, we had my favorite comic book character, Mimic, actually Calvin Rankin, aka Mimic. His powers are he can mimic the abilities of up to 5 different superhumans at half strength. Makes him quite the powerhouse. And the most versatile of the team.
Especially when they're on missions finding new, or when they're dealing with other Inhumans, he's able to later on, oh, there's a better version of a power I have. Like when he first came onto the series, he had Angel's wings. Until later on he came across, I think it was, I saw multiple different ones, but one of the later ones he ended up taking was North Star.
Yes.
To just be able to fly and fly fast without having to have the burdensome thing of wings attached. So he can keep adding powers as he goes. He usually has, the early version of him did, what was it? Is Cyclops' beams. Wolverine, because he had his healing factor. Was Colossus from the beginning?
Yes.
Colossus.
Organic skin.
Beast, strength and agility, and Angel's wings was the original, and then he kept some of them most of the time.
Yeah, Wolverine's one of the most constant.
I think he got rid of it for, like, he found someone, I don't know if it was Deadpool, yeah.
It was Deadpool.
Deadpool, where he got a better healing factor.
We'll talk about that later too. Then there is
My favorite,
His favorite.
which is Morph.
Morph. What's
which-
Morph's real name?
I don't remember.
Kevin Sidney.
Kevin Sidney. Thank you, Buddha. Oh yeah, Buddha's back. He didn't have to work. Or actually, we're filming after he worked. Kevin Sidney, he was... his abilities are nutso facto, too.
He's very similar to Impossible Man in the Marvel comics, which is basically he can morph into very cartoony. His morphs aren't. He can't morph really to look like someone seriously like Mystique. He morphs into comedic versions of things. He cracks a lot of jokes that way, but his body is more of a kind of liquidy substance like Odo from Star Trek.
Deep Space Nine?
Yep.
Very good.
So
Except he can't go into like a liquid form, can he?
well, that was what he's fighting. He doesn't want to be.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
because he was going to lose cohesion.
Yeah. So that's more.
Oh, and he has super strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like he's like nobody knew that. They thought that his powers. Just
And he flies, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Like
his shapeshifting ability, and he's like, oh no, I got super strength. I can fly too. I'm like, oh well, that's great.
And he's the jokester of the team. Then Nocturne, who I really enjoy.
Who is Josephine Wagner?
The daughter in an alternate dimension of Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch. And she looks like Nightcrawler. She can possess people. She can fire hex bolts from the dimension that
Hex
Nightcrawler teleports from. And then we have Thunderbird,
John Proudstar.
who this version of Thunderbird was one of the Horsemen of Apocalypse.
War.
So he is very large, very
Angry.
angry, and
Powerful.
and because I feel some of the early comics, the artists were weaker in the early books. They got better as the series. I think the series got popular when it first was running, and they got people who either took more time or. But early on, his body was supposed to change for whatever when he was getting angry in the war, and it just always looked weird and off. Especially when we've revisited it. We like the team. We like some of the basic stories, but like we like the overview. Some of the actual thing, when you're looking back at it after 15 years, you're like,
Yeah.
that's not what I remember fully.
Yeah. So that's the main team at the start.
You're missing one. The one you forgot to almost do your choice
look,
for
I
too.
forgot him again. So no, there's one more.
The last one is Magnus, who is in an alternate version, the son of Rogue and Magneto. And spoiler alert, the reason why Mel keeps forgetting him is he didn't make it past the first arc.
He didn't. He died quick.
He was basically the guy they put in that was the throwaway. They knew that.
Just to show how serious the.
That's why he looked rather plain.
Yeah. He did. What was his abilities? Anything he touched turned to metal?
Yeah, he was Rogue, but for metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful.
And he still had Magneto's abilities, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I don't. Like I said, he was.
He died rather quickly.
And yeah, and so they are all under the thrall of the Timebroker, who is basically the mastermind behind this Exiles team.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on later on with the Timebroker, but basically for our purposes, especially for this one here and what we're doing, he is the guy who gives them the orders. He is, especially at the beginning, he is basically Al from Quantum Leap. He sometimes appears, usually when they're doing bad, but to give, this is what needs to be fixed here, or it gives a riddle. They don't flat out say what needs to be done, at least initially. It gives you sort of hints, because one of the things is, in some of the early books, they make things worse at first, because they misinterpret the riddle. One of the other things about the team was, if someone died or was left in a comatose state, they would get left they would get taken away and a new member would pop up and appear on the team. So we wanted to go with 9 people for our casting this week, and so we wanted to talk about the first 2 big replacements on the team. So the first one who replaces Magnus is Sunfire, a younger female version of the flying shoot.
Yeah, the main Marvel continuity Sunfire. He's an alternate version again. All these characters are from different universes.
And then the other one was Sasquatch, which instead of being
John Hudson?
I think
What's his name?
I don't know.
Daniel Hudson.
Yeah, that's who it is. But in the normal Marvel, it's I think John Hudson.
I don't. But Heather Hudson is Sasquatch, and in this version, Sasquatch, because I think there was something to do with Wendigo.
Yeah.
That her coloring is white instead of yellow, orange.
Right.
I don't remember why right offhand right now.
Yeah, it's been years since we.
Yeah, I've read some of the earlier books recently, and I'm planning on reading back through them. But yeah, I've read the first couple arcs. That's before she ends up appearing. But she became the brains of the operation. She was the Hulk, basically. She's the really smart scientist outside of being transformed, and then she's the big muscle when she would transform.
And so, if you haven't gathered what we're doing, we'll be doing an MCU casting of the Exiles. If they were to introduce them into the MCU with or without the X-Men, whatever, who would we like to see in the roles of the characters we just mentioned?
They've just introduced the multiverse into the Marvel MCU, so what better time to talk about a team that they could have that would hop around the different universes, because they can be going, you could have them pop up in another universe and having to fix problems with evil versions of our heroes in the movies, or good versions of some of the villains. So that was a very common thing throughout the series. Like the first major arc, spoiler, they thought Xavier was the good guy and Magneto the bad guy. It turned out to be the opposite, and Xavier lobotomized the city or something when they freed him.
Yeah,
when they freed him, because that's who they thought was the teacher they needed to go to at first. So that's the goal for that's the team. Our little rapid ramblings.
Right, rapid ramblings.
That was our rapid ramblings on the breakdown of the team. Besides that, we wanted to remind people to subscribe,
like, share,
and we did want to say we've had a couple questions or a couple comments on topics people would like us to talk about. We would like, if anyone wants any other specific ones, to comment on this video or the next video, but our goal for next week is to go through the different comments and answer some of the questions and talk about some of the subjects that people are asking. So this would definitely
if you're not
be
really
the time.
nerdy, but you've always wondered about specific stuff, ask us. We'll give our interpretation, or if we can answer the question directly, we'll answer it.
Or if you just had a who do you think would win between X and Y, I'm okay with discussing those topips if that's
I'm good
what
at
people
those
want.
too.
You are good at those. Basically because he refuses to let down until you just agree to him winning.
It's not true. It's very true. But anyway, share please and comment. Make this more exciting for us and for yourselves. It is ramblings and randomness, but it's better if we have something to ramble about.
Back and forth.
Yeah, some back and forth. How do we end those rapid rambles? Just catch you later, folks.
Tune in Friday.
Da-da-da. Psh. Psh. Yeah, and the fireworks.